just about here. We are just about here. YouTube, why you slow, YouTube? There it goes. There it goes. There it goes. Little bit at a time. Little bit at a time. And we are live. Beautiful, beautiful. What's up, everybody? Welcome to Get Your News On with Ron, a special edition here. I have not one, but two guests. I've never done this before. Could be chaos. That's what Get Your News On with Ron is. We always say, come join the chaos. I have not one, but two folks running for city council, which I like. I always love the idea of acting locally. We talk about that on the show. Everybody always wants to run for Congress or they want to run for Senate, and there's nothing wrong with that. I get it. Electoral politics in general isn't my bag. I'm not meant to be on that side of the fence. But man, a lot of times people forget the value in running locally. And I really try to harp on that. So we have not one, but two folks running for city council in Long Beach. Fortunately, they're in different districts. Otherwise, this would just be a debate panel, but it doesn't have to be. They're in two different districts. So here, welcome both of my guests. Look at this cool little thing. We got a triangle now of people. We got Elliot Gonzalez running for the first district over in Long Beach, and we got Ryan Lum running for the second district over in Long Beach. And now there's a special election. Is the special election pertaining to both districts? There's a special election coming up on November 5th. Is that for both of you?
No, that's
just for District 1.
Yeah, the seat is vacant currently.
Okay, all right. So that's just for you, Elliot.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Now, Ryan, when is your election?
March 3rd during the California primary.
Okay, all right. Yeah, and that's kind of generally when all of them are happening. I know here in Pasadena, we had some weird exemption thing happen. Anyway, yeah, sometimes local politics, they can kind of mix it all up for you. But I'm pretty sure ours is going to be in March as well. So what made you guys want to run for city council? We'll go in order of districts. So Elliot, you can go first, and then Ryan, you'll go second. What made you decide to run for city council? We'll start basic.
Sure. So I'm running for city council because the area has some of the worst air in the nation. And I mean, more than even comparing it to the nation, we know that the air causes heart disease, it causes cancer, it causes asthma, that it sacrifices the lungs of the precious children in the communities nearby in Wilmington and West Long Beach, North Long Beach, and the city of Carson. That those children, they will never get to fully breathe in to their full lung capacity, so long as we keep allowing contamination to occur to the air. But not only does it affect us and does it create, asthma, cancer, heart disease, we know that it'll warm the planet to the point that the planet will reach a heating point of no return, which is a death sentence to life on Earth. So I'm running at a very local level to address a very global issue, because here in Long Beach, we're highly involved in oil production, in oil trade and global markets. We have a port, one of the busiest ports in the West Coast, the busiest port in the West Coast, and one of the busiest ports in the nation. So a lot of the change, when we talk about making a global impact, we could do a lot of that right here in Long Beach, right here in the first district, and that's why I decided to run.
So, Elliot, in other words, you don't want to just be drama-free in the LBC. You want to be toxin-free in the LBC too.
Absolutely. I'm setting the standard to clean air. I don't think I'm setting the standard very high. Yeah, absolutely.
I appreciate it, man. All right, Ryan, same question to you.
I mean, yeah, I'm with Elliot 100% there. I mean, on my website, ryanlum.net, environmentalism is pretty much my top priority for all the reasons that Elliot spoke of there. I don't think there's enough people with a voice that have environmentalism, a protection of our water resources, our air resources as a high priority. Maybe they give it lip service, but for me, I'm absolutely 100% dead serious about it. But how did I get into this local race? It all started at a Christmas party last year. I met with some members just randomly of a small party called the Humane Party. They had a candidate run in 2016 for president, Clifton Roberts. So I'd heard about them. And once they saw what I did on YouTube, how I have a pretty active following there and a global following, they were quite intrigued to get me to run with their party. And at first it was asking me to do a more national run, like U.S. House of Representatives or Senate or something like that. And the more I thought about it, I really wanted to represent locally. I have a global following, but I want to get to I want to be able to implement the ideas that I've been talking about for 6 years on a global level to my YouTube audience. I want to get them out on a local level. I want to think globally and act locally.
Yeah, well, and that's something I'm all about too. I mean, as I mentioned in the preamble, I feel like there's so much value in acting locally, especially when, things are just so messed up in electoral politics. Things are just so corrupt. I mean, both parties are owned by the same donor class.
Yes.
We live in a plutocracy, but locally, you still have some power to make a difference. You can still, I mean, I always say like our voting priorities in this country are so backwards. Now I vote every opportunity I get. Some people don't, and I understand that perspective. But it's like locally, you should never miss an election. Midterms, presidential, those aren't as important, in my opinion. I think that locally is just the most important. And instead, we make it out like it's the least important. Nobody, like so many people don't get out and vote in their local elections because they feel like that doesn't matter. Meanwhile, it's like, no, that's where it matters the most.
I agree 100%. And that's why after thinking about what the Humane Party was talking about, I thought about it for like 4 or 5 months before I finally concluded, no, I definitely want to run for city council. The seat is up this year for election. I'm running against a not too popular incumbent. She had a recall effort last year that didn't go through. So I see this as an opportunity to actually run a race that I can win as opposed to running for U.S. House of Representatives.
So both of you are concerned about air quality in Long Beach and the environment as a whole. What are some policies that you could enact locally that will start to combat this? Elliot, you go first.
Sure, and I just want to add, it's not just environment; it's a housing problem. It is. We're also proposing a public bank, and I believe that all these issues are interrelated. When we talk about our housing crisis, we talk about our banking system, we talk about the environment. They're all interrelated, and you usually find the same culprits behind it, the same capital behind it. So your question in regards of what are the priorities in terms of how are we going to tangibly improve the air? Is we have to stop drilling for oil. We have 5 to 10 years before the planet reaches a point of no return. So if we're serious, only if we believe in climate change, and the city of Long Beach claims to believe in climate change. If we're serious about addressing climate change, we have to stop drilling. That includes a ban on fracking. That at least means that we have to stop selling water to the oil and gas industry. A lot of people in Long Beach may not know that, and a lot of people in LA County don't realize how much drilling occurs throughout the county. And that copious amounts of water are used in oil production, that all the good stuff is gone, that the only way you can extract oil is to use water. So I want Long Beach to stop selling water from the recycled water, from our parks department that is used as recycled water to the oil and gas industry. So we could at least stop it at the point of extraction. But we also need to invest heavily in a renewable energy system. We can go to 100% renewable energy. This is something Culver City has done, Las Vegas has done. A lot of cities throughout the country are looking to a 100% renewable grid. I think that once we have a grid that is completely dependent on the sun and the wind and battery storage, we can begin transforming our economy, including our transportation systems, our port, our airport, can eventually run on completely clean energy, and we'll use fossil fuels for only those things that we absolutely don't yet have the technology for, like let's say ships or airplanes. But there's no reason we should be, running our cars, for example, in the year 2020 off anything but electricity.
Yeah, in the Carter administration, they said we were going to be off that by the year 2000.
Absolutely.
Yeah, we really got off course here. Yeah, absolutely.
And we could have, and we should have. And the science was telling us to do it the whole time. So now we must act as if everything that we love is on the line, as if the future of all these precious children on this earth is on the line. And so it requires a bold and courageous plan at every level of government, federal down to local. And I want to be on the local end, making sure that we're doing our part as the city of Long Beach.
And you say how, and then Ryan, I'm going to let you answer too real quick, but one quick thing I wanted to respond to, you say how all these issues are connected, and that's very true, especially something like a public bank. We had a big push for a public bank in Los Angeles. I'm sure you were both aware of that too. It did not make it, unfortunately, but it was a heck of an effort. It was a heck of a movement, and I hope it gets on there again. If a city like Los Angeles or Long Beach even were to have a public bank, that would have a national effect, because people would see what a public bank can really do when a city like a Los Angeles, which is, one of the bigger cities in the country, is kind of leading the charge. And a public bank, you could take a lot of those resources that we just pay in fees to, Wells Fargo or whoever else. You can take that money and you can pour it back into local programs for infrastructure, for a green, a local Green New Deal or something like that. Ryan, same question to you.
Well, first of all, I want to say I'm so glad you have Elliot on this episode with me. I hadn't heard of Elliot's campaign before, and if we're both elected, I could see us working together and getting some real stuff done as far as everything you're just talking about there. Because if you check out my website, yeah, I'm talking about renewable energy is a high priority. I have a plug-in electric hybrid car, and I know how impossible it is to find recharging in the city of Long Beach. So I want to try to unify that, work with on a city level to have some kind of unified charging structure. But I agree with all the policies that Elliot said there. I want to add on top of that, as far as fighting climate change, just about 2 weeks ago, the United Nations IPCC committee issued a report. Many of you guys may have saw it in the media, all these alarming stories saying that the world needs to go vegan or something like that. Basically, they're saying that unless we drastically change pretty much immediately the way we produce food, the way we consume food, we have no chance of fighting the worst effects of climate change. Even if we all switch to, like, say, renewables and more efficient light bulbs in all our homes, that's not going to be enough. We actually have to change the way we eat and the way we produce food. So on a local level, how can I help that? Well, it was 2 years ago, Long Beach passed, I think, it was sort of almost a hollow resolution supporting Meatless Mondays. It has no real, push to it. So I think as a city council member representing plant-based diets, I can actually go into more restaurants and get them to work with having options for vegans, for non-vegans, just to choose at least one day a week a more environmentally friendly, a more bodily friendly food option. And furthermore, I know the city controls a lot of food options, food commissaries, such as in public buildings, such as in public schools, from K to 12 through the city colleges. So I want to make sure that everyone that attends or works for the city, attends all the schools, have options, healthy plant-based options, 7 days a week.
Well, what about something like urban farming too?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, anything that changes. That's what I'm talking about.
Because eating locally helps significantly.
Absolutely, that's part of it. I don't think most people are aware that animal agriculture is undisputedly the #1 source of greenhouse gases. The percent of that varies. It could be 18%. Some research suggests it's high as 51% of all greenhouse gas emissions. But either way, anything we can do to reduce greenhouse gas emissions when it comes to food production, I'm supporting that on a local level.
All right. So yeah, part of the reason I got you guys on together is because, I see a lot of value. Are you guys familiar with Gail McLaughlin in Richmond, California, what she put off there?
Sure.
Yeah. So I see a lot of value in that. I see a lot of value in, what she basically did is she formed an alliance, and it took, some people were, they had causes that was like their lane, and that was the lane they stayed in. Other people, they ran for city council. Other people, they ran for, well, I think she herself was the mayor, I believe. And together they kind of had this alliance, and they were able to get Chevron out of their town. Chevron wanted to frack. Chevron wanted to do other things. They sent them packing because they all acted locally, and they kind of formed an alliance that was concerned about these issues, and that was able to bring about some policies that made the lives of the people in that community, it made their lives better.
Absolutely.
All right. So, Elliot, where can we learn more about you?
Sure. So I have a website, ElliotGonzalez.com. I'm also, I put it as my username, Elliot for Long Beach. That's what I use on Twitter and social media and Facebook. I'm always on Facebook. I waste a little too much time on there. But I'm also spreading a lot of information about these ideas. A lot of times when I talk about building a green economy and innovation and technological investment and divestment, really important divestment away from fossil fuels, because that's where you'll find all of this wealth that we need to make the public investments that we need. I tend to spread a lot of that information through my social media. So Facebook is one of my main ways that people can directly message me as well. I believe in active communication when running for office. So I'm very accessible, and I want people to reach out to me. So ElliotGonzalez.com, or on Facebook, Elliot for Long Beach.
All right. Ryan, how can people reach you?
Okay. I mean, there's a million ways. Most people know me from our my YouTube channel, Happy Healthy Vegan. We have 200,000 plus subscribers there. But for my political campaign specifically, you could find me at ryanlum.net, all one word, and also on Facebook, ryanlum.politics.
All right. So Elliot running for the 1st district. He's got a special election November 5th. Ryan Lum running for the 2nd district. That election is in March, along with the California primary, which was, I believe, a recent change in a couple different cities in California. Mine was one of them as well. So check them out. ElliotGonzalez.com, RyanLum.net. They are going to forge a progressive alliance in Long Beach. They're going to do it. They're going to lead the charge, get both of them in office. And you don't have to choose, because they're running in different districts. I'm glad the two of you know each other now. I look forward to hearing you collaborate more in the future, and I wish you both the best of luck on the campaign trail.
Thanks for having me, Ron. Appreciate it.
Thanks for being here, guys.
Yeah.
Peace.
Thank you, Ron, and thank you for introducing me to Elliot. I'm going to be communicating with you, Elliot. Look out for an email.
Sounds great.
There we go. All right. Cheers.
Take care.